Martin Luther King once said, if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. I think about that quote a lot when it comes to the development of my art practice and the making of art in general, especially when I think of it in the context of working full time and tending to a family that needs my support. Most creative advice assumes progress looks like flying, a big commission opportunity, or big energy, big output, big momentum. But if you're working a regular job, most days don't feel like flying. As a matter of fact, many of them are going to feel like walking or even crawling. And that's where a lot of people just quietly quit. They stop, they give up. They assume it was never meant to be, or it's something that they'll have to put off for a time later in life. See, the issue isn't slowing down. The issue is in thinking that the slowing down means you failed. So instead of crawling, we quit because we think perhaps maybe crawling is a little embarrassing. It's not living up to the expectations or the promises that I made myself or my spouse or my instructors or whoever it is that I talked about my aspirations and goals as a creative. Crawling doesn't look impressive. It doesn't look like progress to a lot of people. But if you think back to that Martin Luther King quote, he never says flying is better than walking or crawling for that matter. He says just keep moving forward. In an art practice, flying might look like big progress. It might look like big opportunities. It might look like gallery exposure or a nice write up in an art publication or a big commission, whatever it is that you have in mind as the big wins within your art practice. It might look like finished pieces. It might look like large works of art that you get to finish on your time and on your terms. Running might look like perhaps maybe putting in some work for about an hour or two after work or early in the morning before everybody wakes up. Walking might look like putting in about 15 minutes sketching or perhaps maybe finishing up a piece that just needs a little bit of fine tuning. And crawling might be opening your sketchbook and just making a mark or contemplating how you might approach a piece that you recently finished in the future if you have an opportunity to make a similar work of art. Here's the thing, that still counts because the direction didn't change. You're still making progress. Some weeks we might move fast. In other weeks, we might move very slowly. The progress might seem nearly invisible, and that's okay. There are days where crawling is all I have, and that's okay too. On those days, my only rule is this: I don't reverse direction. I don't demand more energy when there's no more energy to give. I don't demand more energy than I have. I don't demand more time than I have. I just don't abandon the work. If you're trying to stay creative while working a full time job and handling other important obligations, here's the mindset that helped me the most. On low energy days, on days where the calendar is just simply out of control with too many appointments to handle, downgrade the creative mode. Don't change direction. Downgrade the mode, not the commitment. Don't ask yourself to fly when you can barely walk. Don't ask yourself to run when you can barely stand. Just crawl forward. Progress doesn't disappear because it's quiet or invisible. If you're still moving, even slowly, even awkwardly, you're doing the work. Crawling isn't failure. For a lot of us, that quiet, invisible work, the crawling, is how the art survives. Remember, direction matters more than speed. Keep creating, even if it's a small sketch, even if it's a little color study, even if it's just filling a page with stream of consciousness writing whatever it is, whatever media you create within, if you need to crawl, just crawl.